I'm continuing my reading here. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I'm reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around just a little bit as I move along, particularly when I get to the reign of the kings. However, right now I am still in Deuteronomy, and this will be chapter 26. Israel shall offer to the Lord a basket of firstfruits of Canaan. They are commanded to keep law of tithing. Israel covenants to keep commandments, and the Lord promises to make them a holy people and a great nation. And it shall be, when thou art come in unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and possessest it, and dwellest therein, that thou shalt take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which thou shalt bring of thy land that the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt put it in a basket, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name there. And thou shalt go unto the priest that shall be in those days, and say unto him, I profess this day unto the Lord thy God, that I am come unto the country which the Lord sware unto our fathers for to give to us. And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hand, and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, A Syrian ready to perish was my father, and he went down into Egypt, and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous. And the Egyptians evil entreated us, and afflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. And when we cried unto the Lord God of our fathers, the Lord heard our voice, and looked on our affliction, and our labor, and our oppression. And the Lord brought us forth out of Egypt with a mighty hand, and with an outstretched arm, and with great terribleness, and with signs, and with wonders. And he hath brought us into this place, and hath given us this land, even a land that floweth with milk and honey. And now behold, I have brought the firstfruits of the land, which thou, O Lord, hast given me. And thou shalt set it before the Lord thy God, and worship before the Lord thy God. And thou shalt rejoice in every good thing which the Lord thy God hath given thee, and unto thine house, thou and the Levite and the stranger that is among you. Excuse me. Now, okay, this is the first harvest in the land of Canaan is what they're talking about. Now, a similar thing is done every year, paying your tithing of the first fruits of each harvest. But this particular thing, this particular command and this particular recitation seems to be for the first harvest in Canaan. Now, one thing it does say, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. This is in reference to Abraham. Now, Abraham was a Hebrew. He was descended from Eber. But when he left the land of Ur, he first went into the land that they called Haran, which is in the land of Aram, and therefore would be considered Aramaean, which is another term for Syrian. So, just that's what that means by Syrian. Verse 12. When thou hast made an end of tithing all the tithes of thine increase, the third year, which is the year of tithing, and hast given it unto the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within thy gates and be filled, then thou shalt say before the Lord thy God, I have brought away the hallowed things out of mine house, and also have given them unto the Levite, and unto the stranger, to the fatherless, and to the widow, according to all thy commandments which thou hast commanded me. I have not transgressed thy commandments, neither have I forgotten them. I have not eaten thereof in my mourning, neither have I taken away aught thereof for any unclean use, nor given aught thereof for the dead. But I have hearkened to the voice of the Lord my God, and have done according to all that thou hast commanded me. Look down from thy holy habitation, from heaven, and bless thy people Israel, and the land which thou hast given us, as thou swarest unto our fathers, a land that floweth with milk and honey. Interesting. Now, you may recall, and I can't remember what chapter it was in, but they are commanded, when they first come into Canaan, they are to harvest nothing. They're not even supposed to plant the first year. They're just supposed to let the land rest. If I remember this correctly, they let the land rest. Second year they plant, but they do not harvest. Third year is the first year that they are allowed to actually gather the harvest. So God has provided them with enough food to last for about 3 years, allowing the land time enough not only to rest, but to recover from the war of conquest. And so they are now paying tithing on that third year. That's when they start paying the tithing. I still think I'm not sure. I think that the first recitation was for that first year, and the second one is for each year after that. It's a little confusing here that they have the two things, and it might even be that the first one was for the second year when they're told to plant but not harvest, but that they're supposed to collect just the first fruits of that second year and donate them to God, but are not allowed to keep any themselves. I'm not sure. There's a little confusion here, and maybe we'll have to look into it a little more, but the basics of this is that they are being commanded to pay tithing. And this is how the tithing works. They give it to the Levites, who then use it to support themselves as well as the widows and the fatherless, the orphans. So, anyways, here we go. This is verse 16. This day the Lord thy God hath commanded thee to do these statutes and judgments. Thou shalt therefore keep and do them with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Thou hast avouched the Lord this day to be thy God, and to walk in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments, and to hearken unto his voice. And the Lord hath avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people, as he hath promised thee, and that thou shouldest keep all his commandments, and to make thee high above all nations which he hath made, in praise and in name and in honor, and that thou mayest be an holy people unto the Lord thy God, as he hath spoken. Okay, so this is the covenant of Israel. Israel is covenanting to keep the commandments of God, and God is covenanting to make them a great nation. I do find it interesting here that it is stated that God created all nations. Israel is not the only nation that God created. He created all of them. But Israel is the covenant nation. So this in itself is an indication that the Bible, unlike what a lot of modern scholars and modern people try to claim, God was not just a local God of the Israelites. He was not a Canaanite deity. From the beginning of the Bible, from the beginning of the Bible to the end, everything tells us that God is the God of all the earth. He is the God of all people. He accepts all people who come to him. He makes covenants with all people who come to him. But the birthright covenant is Israel. They hold the birthright. They hold that particular covenant. And the word peculiar here. Peculiar people mean, to be peculiar is special. It's not odd or weird. It's a special or treasured thing. So, now, we will leave that one here, and I will see you in the next one.